All right, hello and welcome to League of Vloggers, episode 26, 5, 6, 7? 6. Says 6. All right. Tonight our hosts, as always, Kurtis James, or Kurtis James. We got Heather, a.k.a. Stormy, and I'm back from my long trip in Europe. I am Chase, a.k.a.
From your
Viking.
Euro trip?
Yeah, my Euro trip.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Bratislava, though.
I love that.
Nowhere near Berlin.
Yeah, nowhere near. But I'm back. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah.
It was a good, long, exhausting trip. Fun though. I'll take it.
And you got to come back and watch some really good league matches. Like
I also got
this
to watch
week
some
9.
really depressing matches
Yeah.
too.
I mean, so week 9 here, we just had, regular season's over. There were literally 2 games on day 2 that didn't matter.
Yeah.
Every other game, and I guess technically, no, because Team Liquid they lost their day 1 game, then they might have not secured first place overall. Mm-hmm. So there was 2 matches out of 10 that didn't matter, and we ended up with tiebreakers. Mm.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good final week.
It was fun. It was definitely
we didn't know who the final 2 playoff spots were going in. We didn't know who we knew TL would get by most likely, but yeah, we didn't know who the buys were. We didn't know all of the playoff spots. We're just like, hey, we know you 4 are in, and we knew 2 of the 4 that wouldn't make it, and everything else was just like up in the air.
Yeah, it was a lot better than like some of those foldy sheets that they give you, like mile-long foldy sheet. How did things go? Okay, I can rip this off.
Yeah. Did you have it or no?
So they did it really nice this year, or this split. It takes no effort to do this, so that's why I'm really glad they did it. So they had it posted online, and it was a Google Doc, and they just had somebody managing it. So they hid the rows that didn't count anymore as they went.
I figured.
And
That's
I'm like,
pretty cool.
yeah, well, in the past, they just put the sheet up, and so then you had to
They're trying to go green.
What?
So they're trying to go green.
Yeah.
Don't need everyone killing a tree.
Well, yeah, I mean,
to
and
make
you
a
can do it
foldy
yourself.
sheet.
You could have hidden the, copied the document and hidden the rows, but they just had somebody doing it so that if you at any point came in, saw it on their Twitter feed and clicked on it, it just showed you already what's left.
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
It was real smart.
They had a foldy sheet made up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, after the first time they did the foldy sheet, they're gonna do it forever now. I mean, it's great, but yeah. So let's start off. First things first, TL. They got their first place bye. I think the big difference right now, TL last split rolled real rough into playoffs. They lost to FlyQuest, Fox, and TSM. Granted, those were all playoff teams last split. No, Fox wasn't.
Yeah,
Fox was just out of playoffs. But they lost to those 3 last time. This time they roll into playoffs. They had lost to Cloud9 last week, but they beat Echo Fox, and they beat TSM with a fucking troll comp. Not that TSM straight hard,
Glacial?
try hard. Yeah, TSM had a
something?
Z. TSM had a Z, but yeah, they went glacial on TL. They played the Anivia in, cool. Bot was Ash, Braum, makes sense. Nunu in the jungle, okay.
He's so dirty.
Volibear top for impact.
Yeah, he did real well on it too.
Amazing, yeah, and he won. He won that lane against Broken Blade. That's such a troll comp. And
it's really funny that it was Team Liquid that did it, because Team Liquid's traditionally more very straight and narrow. They don't deviate from we're gonna go in and try really hard, or we're gonna go in and we're gonna lose, because that's usually what they do. Yeah. And then they're troll comp and win. I was like, I like this TL.
I mean, the fact of the matter is they went into this match knowing they had first locked up and TSM had 4th locked up. So whatever they did didn't matter for either team. I think if it mattered, even just for TSM, they probably wouldn't have gone full, glacial troll comp. They would have been, a little fun about it, but not that fun.
Yeah.
Not a Volibear in the top.
For the Freljord?
Yeah,
for the
Freljord. But, so they went in.
They did really well. I will say Double Lift missed every arrow except for the one that counted at the end. And I feel I watched that play happen, and I'm I come from a silver, low gold perspective, right?
Right.
In any team fight with any Ashe you have on your team, they would arrow the people that's standing right in front of them. Right there. Because the closest, it's the people they see. It's right there.
And the stun's so short.
Double Lifts, fuck you, Zed.
Yeah.
Onto the 2 people back here, the 2 carries, and took them out of the fight. And I was like, that's such a pro play.
But yeah. No, I mean, they played well. And I think just going from TL looking good heading into playoffs, different than last split where we're like, they're just coasting, right? We're not sure. They didn't look good, but they didn't control things either. And then they end up being good in playoffs, so it was fine. Right now it's just like, nope, they look good. Great. But at the same time, they beat Fox and TSM, and TSM not looking good.
They definitely look like they're struggling a little bit.
Not only are they looking like they're struggling, we saw them play a third jungler this weekend. Spica played both games this weekend. Out of nowhere. Also, so he's been playing like an academy, I guess, on and off. And they brought up the academy coach to be the assistant coach this weekend as well.
Interesting.
That's silliness.
Yeah. Well, and I assume it's, because he deals with this jungler every day.
Yeah.
But what are your guys' thoughts on this? This is TSM, they did the Grig versus Acadian thing, and they settled on Acadian, and now they skipped over Grig and back to a third jungler. What the fuck? Like, seriously, that's my question. I'm going to pose, what the fuck?
That's good.
I think that TSM is, like, they're good enough that they're not worried about falling out of, like, playoff contention, but they were locked in, they're really struggling as an org this year to be closer to that 1-2 spot where they usually are closer to. And with CLG this year, like, kind of like way out of left field, picking up that third place spot, like, it's just very, very weird. I don't know what to say other than weird. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, TSM is doing TSM things where they continue to play the things that they play, but they just play them not as well as, like, what Team Liquid Cloud9 do. And now somehow CLG is, like, also doing things better than them. Yeah. And they're still stuck playing, like, kind of like how they played last split or the split before that. It's like they're not willing to deviate. Like, they're like, we've got our handbook, we're only going to follow this. If there's something new that's in a different book, we're going to stay in our handbook.
I mean, I feel like they did try some new things, because we've seen Bjergsen play TF, we've seen him play Rumble, and granted, some of those have gone better than others, but I do agree. I feel like they try less new things than other teams seem to.
It seems like they try new things, but when it goes really poorly, they don't try to polish it or fix it. They're like, okay, we're going to retreat back into our old ways. And that's how it looks to me. Yeah.
I mean, Alan in the chat saying this event's probably been one of the worst ADCs this split. I'd have to think about that long and hard. I don't think he's maybe top half. Because I think you're going to say, as rough as Sneaky Split's been, I think, it's a matter of him not having resources and whatnot. And we'll talk about how he did this weekend. But, like, so you've definitely got Doublelift top. You know, we've seen Stixay show the fuck up. We've seen Cody's son looking really good.
No deaths.
So, like, if you come through, 5 games, no deaths or something crazy?
Like that,
Ridiculous.
That's real good.
But, yeah, so you come through all that, and it's like, okay, yeah, Sven's...
How many of those games was he on Ezreal, though?
Yeah. It doesn't matter, he's still not dying.
Fair enough.
But when it comes down to it, Sven's probably, like, right around that middle mark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, reading some Reddit stuff, and usually most of the shit on Reddit, I'm like, okay, like, that's an obvious thing, and, like, a lot of stuff, it's like, wow, you're wrong, like, fanboys just fucking losing their mind about shit. But you go back to TSM, when they blew up the team. Since then, they have Broken Blade and stuff, Haunts are in the top, and I think Broken Blade's good, and I think he's just going to get better, so fine. You still have Bjergsen, great. They lost Sven Skaren, who was definitely underperforming at the time, but now he's possibly the MVP of the league. He's definitely one of the best junglers in the league. And they have... Who? Grig, Acadian, Spica? I don't know who they have in the jungle. Okay, and then this all happened because they wanted to upgrade over Biofrost at support, and they felt the team needed shot calling. They wanted Mithy. They went to go get Mithy. Mithy said, I'm a set deal. I'll only come as you guys take Sven as well. So they got rid of Doublelift and Biofrost to get Sven and Mithy, and that also meant they had to get rid of Svenskaren because 2 imports and they were limited, and so that's how this all ended up. So now you end up with this team, and you look at the pieces they lost. Haunter had a resurgence this year on Golden Guardians. I think he's played quite well. This split, I should say, not this year, this split.
Yeah.
Svenskaren, just mentioned that already. Doublelift has won every fucking split since he left TSM on TL. And Biofrost on CLG almost got a playoff by this split.
Yep.
Like, it's just hard to look back at that choice and not see exactly how TSM ended up where they are now. It's just like, okay, you blew up your bot lane which then also caused your jungle to be blown up, and then you've continually been swapping shit since. And when it comes down to it, it feels like maybe Sven might be what's holding you back. But at the same time, who do you replace Sven with?
You go look in Europe, go look in...
Again. Maybe. I mean, we've seen other imports, you're right. I mean, we've seen Bane come in.
He is currently an import slot, so if you pull a different import and just swap him out, like you're not really hurting yourself any.
No,
it's not like you're trading a U.S. person for somebody overseas and you eat up 2 of your import slots there, but...
No. I think you make a really good point there. I mean, because we've seen other imports come in. We've seen Bang come in just recently. If he's already an import, then fine. Fucking pull in whoever from wherever. Like,
oh, God.
You're right.
They could pull in Bang.
They could get Bang from 100 Thieves. He looked so sad.
I feel really bad for the guy. He better be making more money than he was over there to lose over here.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's just 100... I'm not even going to talk about 100 Thieves yet. Bang has been looking better than most of the team around him. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't deserve where he's at.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just segue into 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves made the run. Almost. 100 Thieves went from an 0-5 start to this split to 8-10. 8-5. That's a positive record. It's a decently positive record. If you go, 2-3 in those other games, shit, you're easily in playoffs. And instead, they end up tied with Golden Guardians and Optic. Mm-hmm. Now, because Golden Guardians owned the head-to-head over 100 Thieves, that's why they got the boss spot in the mini gauntlet, basically. And 100 Thieves...
That was my coined term,
that's what I was going. Mini gauntlet, that was yours. So, 100 Thieves, though, that game against Optic, they were winning that game.
Mm.
Yeah.
Optic turned it around.
And I just felt like going into it, I was like, out of this weekend, out of Golden Guardians, who went 0-2 against Cloud9 and Clutch, Optic, who went 0-2 against CLG and Cloud9, and 100 Thieves, who lost to Clutch but beat CLG, and, they earned their spot in that playoff by beating CLG on day 2 when CLG just needed to win that to get the fucking bye.
That was an impressive. I was mad about that.
the turtle match?
Yeah, I remember that.
The turtle match?
The match that turtled out forever.
I don't recall.
What was the garbage match?
No, garbage match was FlyQuest Fox. It didn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. That was 40 minutes of bullshit. But yeah, so 100 Thieves, they earned their spot. They get into that game. They almost take Barrett at one point, whatever. And then what happens?
There it is.
And this is my take on the match and how 100 Thieves season came to an end. But they have Fake God has TP'd in behind his Renekton. Mm-hmm. He's coming. They're all mid lane. He's coming in. He's getting closer and closer for the flank. And Afro sees a moment where he thinks he can Bard ult 3 people. Mm. Now, granted, these are 3 people who are not being engaged on from in front or from in behind yet. So all they're doing is watching for skill shots. Mm. And 2 of them have dashes. So the Bard ult hits no one. And of course, then the fight starts. And Fake God can't get there for another 4 or 5 seconds, which is an eternity in a pro team fight. Mm-hmm. Afro threw that game, because the minute they lost that fight, Optic went Baron, they got it, and they won the game off. That was it. Afro it's just full circle. Mm. He lost that game for them on one terrible Bard ult, in my opinion.
Problem picking Bard. Both teams
why are you picking Bard right now?
So they definitely said that Bard just recently got buffed. Bard got straight up 40 health at level 1.
Yeah,
and I think his gaining of health is a little bit more per level.
No, he did get buffed.
He's a little bit more bruisery right now. He's more of a good lane bully, and in the hands of anyone else other than Afromu, it could have gone differently. Well, and we did see Bard on other people, and it looked a lot better.
We saw it on Biofrost, and it did not look very good.
Who else did we see it on then? Because I
think it was just those 2.
No, I watched the match this afternoon.
Unless it was on day 1?
I think it was...
They won with Bard, yeah.
Optic did?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last time
no, that's right. Big picked it against GGS. That's right. Never mind, I was misremembering. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't think he looked that great on it either. But
I swear I saw it in the Cloud9 game as well.
I think when it comes down to it, my bigger problem is... I had just said, in these last couple weeks, that 100 Thieves has been
Goes
looking
more gun.
better because they're relying on
right.
Amazing to do the engages.
Mhm.
When you pick Bard, you are now relying on Q engages and alt engages.
So they went back to relying on Aframu when it was never working in the first place for
I
a
want.
silly reason.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Yeah.
granted, he offers heals and escape routes.
Nah.
I felt like the most of the time I saw him on Bard, it was him tunneling the fuck out of areas.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's the point? If you're just running away constantly, you're not, putting any pressure on the other team.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going, oh, I'm here, and now you know, whoop-de-doo. Like, he did some good things, don't get me wrong. He had, like, a really good ult on a turret, although, that was the different game or whatever. He got himself blown the fuck up. But anyway, like, there's a couple good plays, but when it comes down to it, he made one really bad play, and I don't care if it's, like, an old pick he used to play all the time and all that. Play what you're playing well on right now. And he was playing well on things like Rakan and such, where he can do shields and
Yeah.
whatnot, and follow
agree.
up on Amazing's engages.
100% agree.
And, I mean, the biggest thing...
has more utility, too. And
Yeah.
teamfight, it's a better pick for a pro play match.
Right, and even if he was playing Rakan, if he did that same thing in that moment where he, like, flash ult Q'd in and missed all three people, he needed to have 5 seconds of patience. There was a great flank coming from Renekton, Fake God, on the backside. And so you end up in a 5v4, having blown your engage,
Yeah.
and Renekton's melee. If he's not in the middle of it, he ain't doing shit. And yeah, he didn't do anything in that fight. It was over, and it was frustrating to watch because of how good we had seen that team start to become. Like, Ryu played pretty darn well here in the back half. Fake God playing very well for being a rookie. Amazing doing well. And when Aframu was holding back, it allowed Bang to shine as well.
Afro has done nothing but choke when it matters. Like, he plays well in some random games here and there throughout the split. I mean, obviously they've picked up 8 wins, so they're not quite nearly as bad as I've been giving them shit for all split.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to games that matter, like, Afro he straight up threw.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what happened in that clutch game. I'm pretty sure I watched it and have the notes on my paper somewhere. But it was back-to-back days of 100 Thieves disappointing me. Because I wanted them to win the clutch game, and I kind of wanted them to lose the CLG game.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and it was annoying.
What happened with the clutch game was Akali and Aurelia going the fuck off.
Yeah. That's right.
And I want to talk about clutch here. Actually, we can roll to that next, because one of the things I wanted to say about 100 Thieves before we leave them is we started hating on them, not just because their logo's terrible. We hate their branding, always have. But we started hating on them end of last year, about a year ago now, when they dropped who? Well, they didn't drop him, they just benched him. For Rikara, out of nowhere.
Cody's son.
Cody's
son. And then, before that, we were kind of annoyed at him because they had dropped who?
This was a long time
Meteos.
ago. Yeah.
Oh.
And man, what 2 players are in playoffs right now? Cody's son and Meteos. What 2 players are...
What they're in.
What 2 players are kind of the best players on their middling teams right now?
Meteos.
Cody's son and Meteos. Like, or 2 of the best players on their teams. Like, we yelled about it back then, and I don't want to, like, go hard in on it now, but it feels like, for whatever reason, I assume branding, and whatever the contracts were, that organization said, Aframu is what we have to have. And now, in retrospect, it's like, man, if you still had Meteos, not that Amazing's bad, and you still had Cody's son, not that Bang is bad, you could be in playoffs now with just a different support.
Weren't there some, like, rumors floating around that Aframu is having issues with both Cody's son and Meteos?
Yeah. And both Cody's son and Meteos have been said to be hard to work with on previous teams, too.
Yeah. But if it's multiple people that are having issues with one person, it's probably not those other people. It's probably the focal point. The one that's having issues with other people.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe they're not so hard to work with, but... Oh, I don't know. Afro
To
might
be
a pain
fair,
in the ass.
it's pretty well documented that Meteos can be hard to work with. That's part of the reason he left Cloud9. And Cody's son has been left off other teams too because he's been hard to work with. that's fine. But I think when it comes down to it, you have to do like a value proposition, and they went with value, I think, of branding and name recognition rather than value of winning games.
It's
Either
true.
that, or they valued him based on what he's done in his history, not what he had done recently.
I feel like difficult to work with is just like a scapegoat to be like, well, we don't like him, or he's not playing as well as he could.
It's an easy way to
and
do
like,
that, yeah.
oh, difficult to work with, shove him out the door.
I mean, Meteos has admitted he can be difficult
Hmm.
because he says he's like, I have a very defined way of how I think the game should be played, and so
that could
so
be,
do a lot of the best players.
But when you have somebody like Aframu who's done nothing but like fail and falter every single split since I've started watching, it's
2
like,
years now, 2.5 years.
It's like, maybe it's not that they were hard to work with. It's maybe that you're leaning like too much of your faith into one person that you shouldn't be.
Yeah, but I mean, while I think 100 Thieves has been heading the right way this split, at least on the back end of the split,
Right green.
I do have to say, I mean, they've got some room left to improve, obviously. Otherwise, they'd be in playoffs.
Yeah.
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 So
They definitely did better than I was expecting them to do. I was expecting them to end this like with sub 5 wins, and they got to 8, which,
yeah,
I mean, that's not terrible. It could be worse.
it's a playoff caliber record. So let's move on to another team that actually finished with more than 8 wins. Clutch Gaming.
Nah.
They also made the run, but they ended up in 5th.
Yeah, it was very surprising. But
What
they
the
put
fuck?
up a hell of a back half of this split, man.
Like, I have a
gotta
very
give it to
different
them.
version of this question that I did for TSM.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like their parts are working together a little bit better. Like, I mean, Huni, although he has looked like garbage in games here and there, like he still hasn't like fallen to like Aframu like levels
Yeah.
of terribleness. Like he does have his bouts of brilliance, and he does come in and like get things done when it needs to be done.
mhm.
And it feels like, I feel like the rest of the team around him is starting to either supplement how poorly he plays, and then like capitalizes on when he's playing well. And so,
Yeah, I mean, right away, I want to bring back that we said 2 weeks ago. Their out schedule was head-to-heads against the people they need to beat to get into playoffs.
Yeah.
And
They did.
we said there were a bunch of teams that were all playing each other, so if you win those games, you are in.
Mm-hmm.
The one team that won those games was Clutch,
Yep.
and they won all of them. They beat FlyQuest, they beat 100 Thieves, they beat Golden Guardians straight the fuck out 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And so they didn't even have a
good job.
tiebreaker.
I don't
They-
even like saying it, but they did it.
They went from fucking 8th place to 5th because they just said, "Oh yeah, we'll just go ahead and win all of these."
For that bet you're talking about, like instead of pick your ponies, pick who rises in the standings.
Yeah.
That would have been the one.
We will
Clutch would've
improve
been
Pick
it,
Your
yeah.
Ponies for next year. I've got a better version of it.
And you mentioned it briefly, but it's got to be said because some teammates are like doing really well in the landsliding or just carrying a team. Cody's son not dying for 5 games in a row or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous stat, and like props to him. Kudos for playing a lot. Like,
Cody's
a
son's
really
always
slick
been
bot
a
game.
decent player. Like I've
Yeah.
never had anything bad to say about Cody's son, other than the fact that
Yeah,
him getting
yeah,
benched
yeah.
back in the day was a poor choice because
Yeah.
him
And that's not
getting-
something bad about him. That's bad about the org.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, him getting benched and then sold off meant he rode an academy bench for a whole split last split,
Who was
Yeah,
it?
part of this split too.
and part of this split,
Piglet,
Piglet. Thank you.
and
because that was a good choice.
and Piglet was garbage, and like Vulcan, I feel
Oh,
like
we gotta put
Vulcan's
him in
been
mid, though.
showing up and like actually playing better.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Vulcan was ever like the problem, but he definitely
Yeah.
wasn't helping things.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. Vulcan is not the linchpin of that team, and neither is Lyra, because I've heavily criticized Lyra's at times.
Mm-hmm.
But
Lyra's been doing better too.
yeah,
Like, I just feel like overall this team is looking good. Like I mean, they're looking better, and
well, I think if you look at this weekend, especially Huni and Demonte, it looked like Echo Fox, Huni, Demonte.
Mm.
They were gross in their 2 games this weekend. Game 1, they played Aurelia and Akali, and Game 2, they played Rumble Aurelia, and they just fucking destroyed. I saw some glorious ults out of Huni, and I'm like, oh, that's how Huni
Rumble?
ults used to
Oh,
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, we've seen him play
Yeah.
some good Rumble recently. We've also seen him like ulti. It's like, what the fuck was that? You know how to play this character. What are you doing?
I almost feel like he's like soft in teen. Like when he thinks his team isn't performing as well as what they could,
He gets so tilted.
He's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna fuck off and I'm just gonna hate on everyone and I'm gonna pretend like I'm playing, but in reality, I've lost us the game.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a debate to be had if Huni is just like mentally soft, or if he's a player who's good when other people are playing good, like he needs that support elsewhere to take pressure off
that
of him.
weeks ago. That's why I
Right.
thought that he played so well with Echo Fox, because he had Dardoch. Dardoch supported him and supplemented him very well. DeMonte did the same thing.
Yeah.
And like he's not been quite getting that from Lyra and
DeMonte's
yeah,
I think
feel
now
like-
that Cody's Son's come online, DeMonte's back in form, and so now that you have all three lanes can win, Lyra just has to not fuck it up anywhere, and they can all flirt. And I feel like they found this balance where if all three lanes are pressuring a little bit, but they're ready for like wherever the gank comes in. Okay, gank comes in, fuck off, get out of there, and then the other two just go hardcore, and they start winning multiple lanes, and that seems how it felt like this week went. Because it was Aurelia, Akali, and Xayah in Game 1, and it was Aurelia, Rumble, and Sivir in Game 2. And both those games, all three of those players got the fuck ahead.
No, I gotta correct you because I really want to talk about this. It was Xayah, Aurelia, and Leona. Vulcan played Leona.
I was talking about the three damagers.
Oh, my bad. Never mind. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Leona and
sorry, 'cause
Nautilus.
yeah,
He played Leona and then he played Nautilus.
That was a fucking great pick, and I haven't seen Leona at all.
I don't think we've seen her all split.
And she's such
All
a
year.
great champ, and he played her pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, they won. So.
And she got a buff recently,
Sorry.
so.
I thought you were talking Xayah Rakan.
Yeah, no, I was going top mid bot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they just played really well. They
Yeah.
earned 5th.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that if they keep the same team when they rebranded Dignitas for real, like I think that they're going to be looking to be a pretty solid team. Because like if they can continue to grow versus like kind of stagnant where they were, like I think good things will happen there. And I'll buy a Dignitas hat next
Oh,
play.
yeah.
So, I mean, quick shout out. They weren't the best looking, but it's because they took just the clutch jerseys and recolored them. But they did the black and yellow jersey, and it had one of the versions of the Dignitas logo with the word Dignitas
It was
on
like
the
black
sleeve.
or it was black and white, and it was like yellow.
Black and
somewhere.
yellow.
Black and yellow.
It was black
and yellow.
bottom, yellow top. Because it has that 45 slash. Diagonal, that's the word.
All I know
black
is I
and
saw it, I was like, Dignitas
'Cause
colors.
They're usually white top, red bottom on that diagonal slash, and they were yellow top, black bottom. So they kept like light and heavy. But yeah, like while they didn't look good, you pointed out, I was like, oh shit, I liked the shout out, I liked the transition.
Did they mention it at all, or did
No,
just
I
I didn't
miss it?
hear the cast mention it,
I
but they
wasn't
might
really
have.
paying attention.
Let's see this.
They played 100 Thieves day 1, and Golden Guardians day 2. You have day 2 pulled up. Yep.
Oh.
Oh,
The clutch
love
logo was
it.
white.
Ah, yeah.
The clutch logo was right.
Oh yeah, and you're right. The
love
Dignitas on the
Yep,
shoulder.
and it said
They're
Dignitas.
gonna
That
get
was
rid
on
of
the left
that,
sleeve.
that clutch thing, though, right?
Yeah, that'll be next year.
Yeah.
But I liked the
Black and yellow,
transition,
black and
the like
yellow.
shouting out. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the one fear though I have, like you said, they're doing good if they keep building this way. That's the exact same way I felt about FlyQuest last split.
Really?
I mean, because
And they
FlyQuest
kinda went-
improved.
Mhm.
It looked like Viper was coming along.
Yep.
It looked like Santorin was the piece they needed in
Yeah.
there. Pobelter, Wild Turtle, not Ole.
Well,
Who did they have? And now they have Wadid. Like, but it was JJ.
JJ, thank you.
Like, it felt like that team was in the right direction, and they fell mightily. They ended up 9th this split. Like, so.
Oh yeah, our predictions
Oh,
where we
poor
all have like
Turtle.
FlyQuest 4th.
Turtle in his glorious / terrible bowl cut hair.
Yeah. So I mean, just hopefully the same fate of FlyQuest doesn't befall
I love
Dignitas next year.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Clutch before we move on?
I am sad.
As soon as that Texas
That's
logo
about it.
goes away, I might be a fan again.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm sad it's not going to be the old school Dignitas logo, the little like round head fire thing. I don't know.
It might be the Dignitas
It's
just
not the
update
old
their
one.
logo.
They updated like a year or two ago when like the brand itself was like bought by a new group and revamped. So it's not the Dignitas that existed 3 years ago.
That is not the Dignitas I was looking for. Thankfully, it wasn't porn of any sort.
It wasn't, or was it?
wasn't.
It was not.
But
Aw.
It was just like a very like 90s website I clicked on.
Nice. Was it GeoCities?
Could have
Close
been.
enough.
All right, so we've talked about 100 Thieves who missed playoffs. We talked about Clutch who made playoffs. Do you guys want to talk with the other one who made or the other one who missed?
Let's do the misses and
You
get
can
them
even
out
buy
real
that
quick.
temporary jersey, the Clutch.
Hey, Clutch cross Dignitas. Solid.
Yeah.
It's not pretty enough,
No.
unfortunately.
It's really not, but
You should look up NALCS Dignitas. Look
Were
that
they
up.
always black and yellow?
Yeah.
Okay,
Always been
'cause
black and yellow.
I love black and yellow, man. That's my jam. I'm about to be full team Clutch over here.
Nice.
Or Dignitas,
Team
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 Dignitas.
Dig.
TD.
All right. Oh, and Slippy's here finally. All right. Well, let's talk about then the other team that did miss. Your boys.
my boys.
Golden Guardians. So close yet so far.
They looked so bad.
They didn't look
They
good.
looked like there was a couple moments where it looked like, okay, this could turn over, and then they turned over. They're like "Meh," on their backs. They went into prone position. It was hard watching. Like I don't know if you guys noticed, but I ducked
mean,
out of chat. Like
I watched the
after-
Cloud9 game and I got
okay.
pretty hard watching. But not really. A little bit.
I mean, if that's
No,
your jam.
I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, like, my first thought when I was looking back was Golden Guardians had to win 1 of 3 games.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do. And they couldn't do it.
Uh-uh.
But at the same time, Optic went 0-2 last weekend. And so then this weekend, it's like, oh, you just got to win 1 of your 2 games. And they didn't. So then they ended up in the tiebreakers, but they ended up winning both. And we'll talk about them. But I feel like Golden Guardians, one of the things I like about them was also their undoing in the end. They are willing to try different things and adapt.
I will.
Because we
yeah.
would see Froggen, he played his pocket pick of Nivea, and Vel'Koz is one of his other ones, and they played weird picks throughout the split, here and there. But then when it comes down to it, they wanted to be the first ones to jump heavy on that Tristana lane bandwagon, and it ended up shooting them in the foot. I mean, I think they won with it the other weekend, maybe. Or no, that was 2 whole weeks ago, I think. They lost with it, maybe. But they played it twice this weekend. Not only was it on Hanser the first game, and, he got off to a good start. He was 2-0. He had the most goal in the game. But he's a top laner,
Yeah.
and so he's not used to having to group constantly.
I feel like he's
forgot
much
that
better
that's
as a
what it is.
bruiser.
Those are solid kits, right?
Oh, I love
But
that.
show those to the screen real quick.
If you can.
Like, that's the
Yeah.
old school logo, and it's not the logo anymore, unfortunately. But, those are
That's
solid
cute.
kits.
Yeah, I really like that.
I'll bring close. Yeah. Look at that sexiness.
If we had a real team
I
together,
know.
we would have hey, spin this up real quick.
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah.
Spin this
Yeah,
up.
they would have had it 10 minutes ago already.
Yeah.
We only talked about it 8 minutes ago.
Taking me back to
But
Inside
yeah,
Out.
no, those are good jerseys. And I expect it'll be a good use of the color scheme next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Golden Guardians. The Tristana on, Hanser did well with it. He just didn't group right with it. Because the mentality of being a top laner is different than the mentality of an
And
AD
he's
carry.
like a bruiser. He's like a big
Right.
tanky boy.
Well, you're
that's
used to
punch
having to
hard.
put on side lane pressure.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're playing a marksman, it's grab the side lane farm and get the fuck back with everyone.
Yeah.
Because a team fight requires you. You are a DPS character.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't there for some of the team fights, and that hurt them.
He'd
And then
come up a little bit late each time.
yeah,
Oh,
or it wouldn't be
just
there at
missed
all
it.
because it was Cloud9, and Cloud9 was just like, oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
fight hard and fast.
Yeah.
Because Sven Skaren was dirty in that game. I mean,
And then they played a Bard Talia in the last game. And again,
well, so in the second game even,
oh no, that was Optics.
yeah, the second
They
game
lost
against
to it.
Clutch, they played the Tristana, but they played it mid, and it was like, I want Froggen on a mage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't care what the mage is. If you put him on Vel'Koz, cool. And if he awesome Karthus, go for it. If it's a mage, he's gonna do fine. You put him on a Tristana, and I'm like, you're not letting him do what he does.
Yeah.
And I understand it, they picked the Tristana. Well, no, and they picked it last too, so it's not even like.
All 3 of those you mentioned.
I think
by
they
the way,
picked it
were
last,
banned.
right? Yeah.
So.
Oh, of course they. Well, no,
Karthus.
that game, yeah, Karthus was
Karthus
banned, and
and
then
Nivea
Nivea Vel'Koz were banned
yeah.
in second rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew who they were
Yeah, he
banning.
had
But fine.
Vagar. He could have played
Yeah,
that.
Vagar, Victor,
That.
fucking, we've even seen him play Akali and Aurelion play well. like, it just seemed like they opted into being, in some ways, a meta slave, but it's like the new cool hotness, but they were a slave to that.
It's almost
They're like,
what
we
you
have to
said,
pick Tristana.
But, like, they try things, but they tried to be meta, and then it didn't really work for them.
Yeah, I think it helped them during the season, and so it's a double-edged sword. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have picked those things. I think that's part of what got them to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucks that that's also what ended up feeling like it bit them in the ass.
Yeah, these matches were pretty tough to watch. Like, you could see that they were trying, but like just everything kind of fell apart every single game. I was like, I was really disappointed with how this weekend went for them.
Yeah, and I mean, it hurts even more because they only got the 10 points in the first split because they lost in the first round of playoffs, so their season's actually over.
That
Yep.
sucks.
So far, 100 Thieves, Golden Guardians, Echo Fox are all done. Those three do not have the ability to make Gauntlet,
Wow.
which means they cannot make Worlds.
Hold on, look, can I write this down?
Yep, 100 Thieves, Golden Guardians, and Echo Fox. It's
you
actually on the
already
sheet
had it right
already,
here.
these 3 dashes.
Perfect, cool.
So they
That's
cannot
what this
make
means,
Worlds.
basically. Yeah, cool.
So yeah, they're done. That is the end of their seasons. I think
Fox.
we all think 100 Thieves is heading the right way.
Yeah.
I think Golden Guardians as an organization seems to be doing right things.
Mm-hmm.
And Echo Fox, let's do a quick hit on them. It was a bad split for the team,
Yeah.
and a worse split for the
I'm gonna
organization.
pour one out for my homies.
Yeah, Echo Fox will be no more as of next split, unless
Rip
some
Pete
legal
Logan.
shit changes things.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what's
That
going to
sucks.
happen with that, because
But
like
then
they
it really
originally were
does.
trying to sell the spot, and it
They
seems like
did.
that kind of fell through, and now
They
it
sold
seemed
it.
oh they were able to sell the spot,
They sold
just not
it.
the team.
They sold it to Cronky. Yeah, no, they sold the spot
Yeah,
to
okay.
the Cronky Entertainment or whatever, which
Okay,
are
okay.
the people who own Immortal. No, that was the 100 Thieves.
It was
or
the
not
Denver
100.
Nuggets people I thought bought
Yes,
the spot.
Phoenix One used to be Phoenix One.
Wait, so the Denver's gonna have a spot in the
It's
LCS?
So-
the people that own the Denver
Yeah,
Nuggets.
he
It's
owns
not
a lot of
actually
things. He
the-
owns like
Can
Liverpool. He owns Liverpool. He owns the Nuggets. He owns an Overwatch League spot.
We're gonna get Colorado jerseys, y'all.
It would be pretty dope if it happened, but
Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
holding my breath.
Yeah, no. So when that group owned a spot previously in the LCS, they were Phoenix One. And there's like some internal legal battle because the dude who runs their Overwatch side, basically he wasn't brought in on this, and he's like, oh, I should be brought in on it because it's esports and that shit. But that shouldn't affect the sale.
To touch on like that drama, there was like some allegations. Like apparently the guy that was the reason why like
The
they
racist fuck?
yeah
Yeah.
he put out like a big old like thing like it wasn't me like blah 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 blah, and then like somebody like dug deep into him and found out he has like what's the word, pedophile charges against him. Like he
That's
like
neat.
solicited sex
minor?
from a minor. Like it was like somebody that was like between the ages of 13 and 16. Like it wasn't even
Yeah.
like
Oof.
Yeah, it wasn't
17,
like, I
18.
picked her up at a bar, she had a fake ID.
yeah, it was
Oh,
solicited
man.
Yeah.
from an extreme minor. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you are a real piece of shit. How do you have all this money?
Yeah, well, because he's a piece of
Shitty
shit.
human.
Most
Yeah.
people will do whatever they want to get
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, like nothing like that will legally cause him to have to divest his ownership of a company. So it's not going to change the Echo Fox shit, unfortunately.
Are they still gonna have the same, most likely same, like Fox logo and everything?
No. It's gonna be a
Echo
complete-
Fox is gone.
They're,
So what
they're
is it
still
called
gonna
now?
have their
Is it
brand
called?
in like Smash and like the other
Yeah.
games that they play.
Mhm.
They will just be nowhere near LCS anymore.
Yeah.
What
So
will be-
what I was saying was the group who bought it, when they previously were in the LCS, they were Phoenix One.
Okay.
Now, whether or not they try to revive that brand or go elsewhere, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, because they have no attachment to the brand. It doesn't exist anywhere else in esports, I think. I think it was just LCS.
Okay.
So when that team died,
That
Phoenix One
sucks.
technically
Fox,
died.
Fox was
Of
so
course,
cute.
it's like a perfect like branding to be like, and we've risen!
Yeah.
Phoenix One! Ah! But, yeah.
That's okay. That would
Yeah, no, I thought the Fox branding was great. That's why it would have been best had they just been able to get Fuckstick McKid Raper out
Yeah.
of the group
Wow.
and kept their spot.
Good quick name makeup right there.
Yeah.
They could turn the fox into like sideways and make it a flame.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm
Bring
gonna
back
miss,
Curse Game.
I'm gonna miss the fox. Those
I'll
purple,
wear
orange
my
jerseys
Echo
were
Fox stuff
real
next
slick.
split.
So
Just,
Phoenix is orange and black. They had pretty good kits too. But
Yeah,
anyway,
but
Yeah, no, I thought Phoenix Fox's stuff was great. The logo was awesome and everything. So it's sad to see it go. But yeah, so not only did the team end on a bad note, that team is dunzo. I mean, the players will be technically sold with the spot. Their contracts would be, or at least the option for the contracts.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how many would be held over right now. There's probably going to be a huge rebuilding. It's going to be an all-new team next year.
I bet
Wow.
it'll be an all-new team, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Or damn close.
They keep Phoenix.
I mean, who are you keeping from that
Phoenix.
team?
no one.
Phoenix?
Maybe?
Maybe. He hasn't been that
Phoenix at
I
best.
mean, yeah, what's the rundown on the... You keep Solo.
All right, so we've got Apollo.
great. If I was solo, I'd dip.
Well, it's
After-
new ownership, so...
We've got
you're like,
Apollo and
whatever, it's all
Hakuo
new-
in the bot
all new
lane.
company.
Are
Okay.
Are they okay? Like, I mean...
They're okay. Literally, they are okay.
All right. Then
They're
we've
not
got-
above that, they're not below that. They're okay.
We've got Phoenix
They're
in the mid lane. Okay.
Okay.
We've got Panda and Mike Young in the jungle.
Who they just picked
You
up.
maybe try to hold on to Mike Young and then Solo in the top and build around that.
But
And
Solo
then you've got
could
Solo
leave,
in
right?
the top.
Could, yeah. He could, I mean, it depends on what the contract situation
Okay,
is.
okay.
Because the contracts would be sold with the spot.
If I was
Most
solo, I'd
likely.
dip after what happened. in
Although
the split.
LCS might have, I think LCS actually probably does have rules regarding if you sell a spot, then the players have an option to break their
I
contract.
feel like that's got to be.
I would
Oh,
assume
I'm
so.
sure they're going to get paid out, and then they can go fuck off and do whatever they
Well,
want.
they wouldn't get paid out. They would just be able to end their contract and take a different one at their choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're contracted to that company. And so with franchising, I think that was part of it where if the team were to leave, you're not beholden to that team anymore. They don't own you because they're opting out of a franchise deal.
Are they not going to see any sort of payout on their way out the door?
No, because you would be able to keep your contract if you want to, or break your contract. So that's your payout, is you have the option. Whereas they could just say, no, you're still under contract. Echo Fox gets to do whatever the fuck they want with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, and when I say Echo Fox, I mean whoever they're selling the
Yeah.
spot to. They would be selling those contracts, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so Echo Fox,
Bye.
farewell, I
I
guess.
now have vintage gear.
I'm sad. Yeah, you do have vintage gear now.
I'll rock it the next show.
All right,
Is
quick...
it the purple one?
No, I've got the Miami Vice jersey.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right.
And he's got a hat, too.
Yo.
Quick hit on FlyQuest. Disappointing split for them as well. But they will be in the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
They got 40 points last split.
Mm-hmm.
3 teams are already guaranteed to be less than that. They're done, and they're not in playoffs. And then you have CLG, Optic, and Clutch are all in playoffs with less than that right now in points. And you only get 20 points if you lose in the first round. 2 of them face each other. So one of those teams is guaranteed to be lower than FlyQuest. So guaranteed FlyQuest is in gauntlet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How funny would it be? How funny would it be for them to go from 8th or 9th place to making the
Worlds?
run?
Yeah.
Like backpedal the fucking... Although, you know what? If you make it through Gauntlet, nobody questions it. Because that means, especially if you make it from the bottom, because that means you won 3 best-of-5s in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they have it in them, given
I don't
what
think
we've
so
seen
either.
out of their best of fives and the split.
Just-
But good luck to them. I like them. I still.
It just feels so
Enjoy
bad
this.
because Turtle's not a bad player. He's
St.
not
John's
had a
not a
very
bad
great
player.
split.
No one on that team's a
Yeah,
bad
no one's
player.
bad.
What
It's
did Turtle, Pobelter, Santorin, Viper?
They together collectively are Garbo though.
Apparently. It's so weird.
Like it's so weird.
It's
Like,
like Captain Planet into
their
garbage.
their skill levels individually are up here.
Yeah.
Collectively, like they're like 3 octaves down.
It's weird because that same team was like third,
No.
fourth last split.
Yep.
I'm sorry, fourth, fifth, sixth. They ended fifth, sixth, maybe. I don't fucking remember.
I don't know. Don't you have it?
No,
right,
it was fourth,
right
fifth.
here?
They ended up fourth because they ended up tied fourth. Yeah, third, fourth. Because they lost to TL and TSMB Cloud9, and there wasn't a third, fourth place match, so it didn't matter.
There was a big gap. Yeah, there was a big gap in the first split.
Because,
though.
yeah, they beat Golden Guardians, and for a moment I was thinking they had lost to Golden Guardians.
When we get to Optic, let me know.
Yeah, well, let's head there now, because there's not a whole lot else to say about FlyQuest other than they have to prepare, and if they make the Gauntlet run, I'm not going to question them at Worlds, but I, right now, don't even think they can win a series in the Gauntlet compared to who's left. So let's bump on up to Optic, the other team that did make it. And I mentioned earlier,
Barely.
I said about
They
Golden
win
Guardians, like,
500.
I said about Golden Guardians, like, you just have to win 1 of 3 games. And I wanted to be like, in Optic, when it came down to it, won it. But, like, they also went 0-4 in the last 2 weeks. So, like, I can't praise Optic Like, yeah, they were fucking clutch when it mattered and beat Hunter Thieves and Golden Guardians in best of ones to get the spot. Yeah. But it's not pretty how they got there.
No. And I think it needs to be, like, stated just as plainly as possible. In the back half of this split, they only won 2 games. Only 2. Because that week 5, that first game, is...
Shit, you're right, yeah.
It's really weird. They won 6 games.
Wow.
In the first
minus
half
tiebreakers, they beat Fox and TSM, period, in the back half of the split.
And that's it.
Fucking hadn't noticed that.
They had a horrible back half of the split. It's kind of like quietly, or low-key, you know? Like, we didn't really...
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like,
it felt
okay,
bad, but
so
there was so much other shit going... Well, and, like, alongside them, Golden Guardians was looking pretty bad, too, because they won 4 games in the back half. Like... Oh man, like
only 2. It's because you start looking at it, you're like, wow, they lost the last 4, and then they had a 2-0 weekend, and then before that there was 3-1.
Yeah, well, and I feel like the big difference between the first half of the split and the back half of the split was Crown looked better in the first half.
Yeah. And
Dokla's looking better in the second half, which kudos to Dokla because I've been ripping on him for a long fucking time. Mm-hmm. And his Aatrox won them their games this weekend. They're 2 tiebreakers. He played Aatrox in both times, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Which
they said it.
And, like, he's won other games. I think their other 2 games they won this split, and, like, ones they've lost. His Aatrox has been, like, the best thing on the team. So I don't know how those teams were just like, yeah, let's let Aatrox through.
It's like letting Rumble through for Huni. That's a real big risk, guys.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, it's Huni.
But he laid down these equalizers and one-shot people this weekend. It was a big difference from the ones we've seen off in Narnia that hit Blue Buff.
Fucking Blue Buff and Mr. Tumnus got wrecked.
But, like, you know, Huni on Rumble when he's performing and laying down those good equalizers, it's dangerous. And same with Dokla on Aatrox.
Yeah, so...
Don't let it happen.
I mean, kudos to them making it through, but unless they beat CLG, they're also, I believe, done. Because they got them making it. They got no points in the first split. So actually, if they lose and Clutch loses, they would play off against each other, I believe. Actually, I think it goes to win percentage in the split. Well, so then Clutch would get the spot and Optic would be done. Yeah. So Optic basically has to beat CLG, and I don't think they're up to that task.
No, I don't. They beat him once, but that was it. That was in the first half of the split. So.
And so we only have 2 teams we haven't talked about yet. One of them being CLG.
Yes.
First quick hit, though. If CLG were to lose and Clutch were to win...
Don't say anything.
If that happens, which, I mean, that means Clutch would be beating TSM.
Yeah.
And CLG's losing to Optic. If that happens, CLG season's done.
Oh.
Despite being this close to a fucking bye.
Heartbreaking, but
they would
happen,
exit with 20 points, which is still lower than FlyQuest.
Wow.
Yeah. And because TSM has a bunch of points from being second place last split, so they're higher still.
Mm.
But yeah.
Does this not take into account that the points are much higher this split?
So for the bottom spot in playoffs, it goes from 10 to 20, which is a double, but it's not that much. FlyQuest got 40 because they made it through first round into second round.
Gotcha.
And TSM made it past that round into final. But yeah, so that's what it is. CLG actually has a chance at not even making Gauntlet yet. But let's talk about the reality of things. They were this close to a bye. Mm-hmm. CLG, no longer a dark horse. Jeff absolutely called it. Mm-hmm. He said, they're a top 4 team, maybe top 3. Fucking top 3, maybe top 2. Mm-hmm. Like, they fought for it. Yep. I think when it came down to it, in that tiebreaker, Cloud9 stepped up and stepped on them a bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, CLG, I think really, like, they beat Optic, and they beat them soundly on day 1. They looked real good day 1.
Stupid butts handed to them.
And I mean, we got Big Dixie and Bio Daddy looking real good for once. Like, it's been a minute since they've looked really good.
Now, day 2 against 100 Thieves, they definitely faltered there. And I think...
That game made me mad.
The analysts, they hit on it right away. I don't like the Sona draft in that scenario. I mean, if you're telling me I'm facing up against 100 Thieves, I still feel like Afro Moo is a weak point if you can put pressure on, if you can lean on him. And so it's like, let's do a Sona lane. And it's like, really? You're going to do Sona Kench right now? Give Stixay Caitlyn. Give Stixay anything that does damage. and they didn't. And then on top of that, honestly, the draft, they went the Sona bot, right? Kennen top, LeBlanc mid. So you're going in an all AP draft, an all Magic Damage draft, if you do like the way those characters best like to be played. Mm-hmm. Of course, they accounted for that and they played Kennen as AD because AD Kennen can work.
Yeah.
Kennen looked real good for a hot second until it looked real bad.
Well, and so the thing is, when you look at that, they have the Jarvan, I think, too. That was their jungle, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they had Jarvan and, so Jarvan and then Kench Spotlight, I already mentioned. So, like, you have some engage in Jarvan, but you still need, like, follow-up with that kind of engage. And so you're looking at Kennen as an engage tool.
Yeah.
AD Kennen does not engage worth a shit. He peels okay, but he needs to be skirting around and kiting. Mm-hmm. AP Kennen goes all in.
You just zone you.
So, yeah, and you just blow people up. So they had a comp that required him to go in, but a comp that also required him to not be AP unless they wanted the enemy to just build MR and win.
Yeah. Power of Evil could have picked something else there, because he was the last pick.
Yeah.
He really should have gone.
And I don't feel like his LeBlanc was necessarily the problem, but I feel like altogether it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, like they lost that draft because like the Pike from Afro was pretty good. But it wasn't what won that game. It was just the lack of options from CLG.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryu's Akali went the fuck off, too.
Yeah. I think Ryu's Akali was pretty much why they won that game. Because he was the one making all the plays.
Yeah, no,
he sustained it.
Alan just mentioned in chat, like, you're giving away so much early by, doing the Kennen Sona LeBlanc draft.
Gotcha.
And they absolutely were. And that Akali fucking took advantage of it. I mean, I can't believe that... and I saw comments online too. It's like, oh, you go from that Akali to like get yourself into the fucking playoff game, and then you follow that up by what the fuck did they give him? They gave him Karma mid.
Oh my god, I was
like 100 Thieves lost to Optic with Karma mid for Ryu, who had just crushed on Akali. It's like, bitch, what?
I wasn't rooting for 100 Thieves at that point, but I was still like, why are they taking Karma mid? Like,
yeah, but I mean, so when it comes down to it, though, CLG, I think. They've got a pretty fucking good path to Worlds right now. Like, when we just look at the other teams.
No, I really hope they make it. Like, they're the most deserving of anyone...
outside of the bye teams.
Exactly,
When you're looking at these other four, the four that are in playoffs, and then FlyQuest included. So 5. Like, what, you think they should beat Optic in a best of 5, wouldn't you say?
They should.
Yeah, okay. So... now they're in the gauntlet. And let's just say that's all they get, is the gauntlet, right? FlyQuest, Optic again, TSM, because they'll probably beat Clutch, and actually... oh, I guess Clutch would be in 2? Yeah, and then, so TSM and then CLG, like... and just saying, if Cloud9 and TL make finals, both of them go. That's just the way it is. So if you're talking current TSM...
dodgy.
Plus Optic, Clutch, who's been surging, but they're not as good... and FlyQuest, CLG is head and shoulders above those teams.
I think best of 5s is probably their best shot right now. Like, I mean, best of 1s, it could go either way. It doesn't really matter. But if you go best of 5s, you've got time to fix things between matches, and then you come back and crush it. Right. Like, I feel like CLG's mental is a little bit better than some of these other teams that they're going to have to go against.
Right.
And
I feel like they won't draft a LeBlanc, Kennen, Sona 3 times.
Yeah.
They'll fuck up once, maybe twice. But
fuck up once, the other team will crush it once, but that's still only 2 losses.
Yeah, I have hopes that CLG will do it because they deserve it. They're probably the most deserving team right now to go to Worlds,
and they've been very fun to watch in their games.
Yeah, like if we all have to say who are the best 3 teams to send to Worlds from NA. We all say TL, Cloud9, CLG, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Like, there's not even a fucking question that another team is even remotely on that level. Because TSM feels like they've fallen apart. So I can't, like, earlier in the split, I would have put them in the argument. But right now, God, no.
Yeah. They're going to somehow fix their shit before, and they're going to end up being the ones that go to Worlds with them. But I don't think they're as deserving as CLG.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the thing is, TSM's the team who has a backdoor option because they got second last split.
They got it in points.
So if, like, say if Cloud9 or TL were to lose in the well, actually, yeah. So TSM would have to win to beat out TL. However, if Cloud9 lost in the semifinals, Which is possible, because they could end up facing CLG. But it is possible for TSM to take the number 2 spot on points. Like, TSM just has to win round 1 and have Cloud9 lose round 2, and
they have
points.
a good shot at it just based on their first split.
Yeah.
I am interested in seeing a CLG and Optic matchup, though, because Optic coming back from that loss on Sunday was actually pretty impressive. The announcers talked about it, like, Crown got hard camped, and then they just they went back home. They were like, we're gonna go take a nap, we're gonna come back. And it was real impressive that they were able to pull it back together, basically, for the rest of Sunday. So I want to see, like, a CLG Optic matchup, if anything.
Yeah.
For best of 5, anyways.
Guess what? You do get to see that, because that's the quarterfinal.
Yeah, but that means CLG has to
They play Optic.
Oh, they play Optic first.
That's what I'm saying. That's the quarterfinal.
Yes.
So you get to see it.
Awesome. I really hope CLG wins, but
yeah,
it'll be a fun
CLG
match.
should be able to trounce Optic. I mean, it's a best of
5.
It is a best of 5, yeah. No problem. I see there's no way Optic.
Like, my initial thought is 3-1.
I forgot we get to do predictions.
Yes. So before we hit up predictions, last team we haven't talked about Cloud9.
Yeah.
Cloud9 busted out an entire 7-man roster basically this weekend. Day 1, they brought in Deftly against Golden Guardians. Deftly looked bad last weekend.
Bad, man.
And I'm gonna be honest, Deftly didn't carry this game, but he played clean. And at the end, he had a really good KDA, partly because he ended on a triple kill in the base too. But
was it a 5-2-7 or something like that?
I think it was 5-1-13, 8-1-13.
Oh, okay.
It was 8-1-13. It was gross.
Okay.
But it was based also, or maybe it was 5. But he had a triple kill as the Nexus was going down.
Yeah.
I think he only had 1 death though.
Okay.
Either way,
he
it might have been 5-1-8, but still,
solid.
that
So
looks
they're
really
playing
good.
Blabber and Deftly. That's their 7-man roster.
Well, yeah, I think so. Because then day 2, we saw Blabber instead of Svenskeren. And they crushed that game the fuck too.
Yeah. Blabber looked good.
They took down CLG, or not CLG, Optic with just a load of just fucking chaos.
To be fair, Optic shouldn't be winning games.
Yeah. Well, okay, and then we saw when it came down to crunch time, because CLG happened to lose, and so it's here's the playoff for the bye. They did play their standard 5-man, Sneaky, Svenskeren, along with Licorice, Niski, and Zazel, and they were really gross good. I just feel like Cloud9 is as good as TL looked. It was against Fox, and then fucking around against a really bad right now TSM. Cloud9 played against 2 teams who were fighting for playoffs and a team who was fighting for that bye with them, and they wrecked all 3 of them. I think there's 2 things about it that stood out to me, not just the winning. 1, they were aggressive as hell in all 3 games, and 2, all 3 games they focused on winning through bot lane. And we saw Definitely got kind of ahead. Sneaky in the 2 games he played destroyed people. As rough of a split as he's had. And I still think, I said even then, I'm he's still better than most of the AD carries in the league. It's just they don't put resources around him. Yeah. But he was doing worse than normal. We haven't seen resources go to Sneaky in a while. And they did it 2 games in a row. And 2 games in a row, he fucked people up. Especially the CLG one. They did a 4-man dive bot to start. And so all of a sudden his Caitlyn had a full turret and a kill or 2. And then she went went top and got a couple more turret plates. And then was just walking through the team and chunking people for a third of their health with a crit. He was so gross.
Yeah, when full crit build, they were talking about, he's he doesn't have boots, but he's got all the crit, and he was just chunking people down.
You don't need boots when they can't run, because they're dead.
The caster was don't need boots, because they don't crit.
Yeah, boots don't crit, bro.
That's funny.
It's a true story. And his Ezreal game was really good too. It wasn't as impressive as the Caitlyn one, but you saw right at the end against Optic and base, he shoots off. Well, and he got the Ez-ult pick mid. He got an Ez-ult pick mid when I love the comms. I think it was Azel and Svenskaren's I'm almost there, and he's I got no meta, man. What are you coming for? And all of a sudden, pop, the Ezreal kills Crown over the wall, and Crown was demoralized that game.
Yeah.
But Crown dies over the wall, and Niski Less goes, Triumph! Because he had no mana, no health, and then Triumph gives him fucking shit back, and he's I guess I'm gonna live!
That one was good. And then the one in the base, too, where he double shot on the true.
Yeah, he almost got a triple kill on just his ult. He killed 2, and Crown had 40 HP left.
Sneaky
you
showed
watch
up
all
and
of-
came back, man. He
Cool.
did real well.
Do you watch all of the games through ProView at this point?
No, I watched bits in Pro.
Okay.
And ProView was working real funny yesterday, so I wasn't using it as much.
Okay.
But yeah, do you? Or what?
I
Oh.
didn't pay for it.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's good to like check clips out and see what's going on. It's like that. I can see exactly how much health Crown had. I didn't check to see how much I should have.
I
but
spent
it was
the
great.
most money on League this past weekend.
Getting the Warwick skin.
Getting the Project Warwick than I've spent in like the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
But yeah, no, like
But I tweeted at Riot every single time that I thought about it. I was like, Project Warwick or I Riot.
yeah.
Or I would just be like, I want it real bad. And
Okay.
everyone was like, you're a moron. His champion kit doesn't fit the project, whatever.
Oh, you've been doing that for like years now?
Since I started playing.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
And so, like, when they put out the teaser a couple, like last week or 2 weeks
Yeah, I
ago,
saw you
I was just
post
like,
that then.
I tweeted at him, like, when they announced, like, they just put
four,
out the
they showed
trailer.
the 4, but there's only like a hint of the Warwick in there.
And I was like, Warwick or Riot! And then, boom, we got it.
Yeah.
I was so
I
excited.
mean, obviously at that point it was already made. That's funny. I didn't know that. That you've been on that train for a while.
Project's the coolest skin line there is, in my opinion.
It's pretty solid.
And
Star Guardian's pretty dope too.
No. Star Guardian's the worst.
You like KDA.
Pajama Guardians.
My favorite's Challenger, Ari.
Oh, okay.
There's
The
only 2
Challengers.
Challenger skins, so
Is there only 2? They were doing one for every MSI. Are there not like 4 at this point?
I think there's only her in Italy.
Okay. Could be.
I could be wrong. I
They
haven't
switched
played in
it
a
to
while, but-
Conqueror, I think.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, because I think there's only
So anyway, though,
Sorry.
Sneaky. I think the thing that I took away though from that, not being like, oh, Sneaky's not bad, whatever. Like people on Reddit, like fuck whatever, but that Cloud9, the last moment before playoffs, been like, oh hey guys, by the way, all those strategies you're preparing, where it's like, hey, let's just fuck on bot lane or blah blah blah, or their bot lane's not going to do anything. By the way, you have to be afraid of every fucking lane we have. Because we've seen Niski dumpster people, we've seen Licorice dumpster people, and we just watched bot lane dumpster people.
Did you see the Svenskaren splash on bot lane from like the little red tri-bush? Like, they're blue.
When he
He's over
flashed
here.
the wall for the gank?
He flashes this way because they thought like the announcers were like
They thought he was
gonna
gonna
take that
blast
little
cone in the
blast
river.
cone, yeah, he goes boink.
Or they thought he was going to blast cone into tri-brush to like avoid the ward and get in. But yeah, he's like, no, fuck this. He just flashed into, by the...
Ridiculous play by Svenskaren.
Well, he was on Hail of Blades Shinchao. So
Yeah.
he's like, all I've got to do is be on you, and I'm going to get a 3-hit pop-up.
Yeah.
And he did. Like, yeah. Svenskaren,
It was pretty sick.
I-
Did you see it?
I did see it.
I really do think he should absolutely get MVP. Like, he just makes so many disgusting plays, and I don't think there's been a single time this year where I've just been like, wow, he lost the game.
Yeah.
I've been like, there's times where it's like, that didn't help.
Yeah.
But I've never just straight up gone, oh, you lost the game. Like, and I felt that way about Crown once or twice, even though I feel like he also carried fucking games, you know. But, alright, so let's do a quick hit here. Our predictions for games. Actually, I'm gonna...
Yeah.
I had it. Shit.
This is my favorite part.
So, we actually ended up pretty close. In fact, 2 of us ended up tied at the end of all this.
We did.
were behind the pros, though, Jace. We did not do as well as in the past.
Oh, this is.
You guys, you both ended up 55 and 45. I'm sorry, 55-35.
High fives.
So you guys both ended up 61%. I ended up at 52. So I was 3 games behind you guys in game predictions. So we all did pretty well. I mean, when I'm the lowest one at just under 58%, not too bad.
That's not
I got
bad at
my
all.
first perfect day, I think.
Yeah, you got a 5-0 on day 1.
Is this the first of the...
No, there have been 5-0 days.
I think I've had a 5-0.
Yeah, we just had, still, there's no 10-0 weeks.
Yeah.
Still has not happened.
I should have gotten one this weekend. If fucking everyone I picked would have won.
Alright, well, then let's talk about, at the beginning of the split, who we all predicted to end the split where. We all predicted TL1, Cloud9 2. We all got that. Barely.
Yeah, barely.
Barely.
Check out this
Oh,
next.
barely.
We got the next one too.
No, we did not. We
Oh, no,
had
we
TSM in
yeah.
third.
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
We were off by a spot. TSM fourth.
Guess
We
what
all
was
had
fourth?
FlyQuest fourth. Not FlyQuest. That was our worst pick. FlyQuest
Yeah,
being
that had
5.
to
Okay, well,
5 points
FlyQuest
out.
sucking dick was not our fault.
We
Yeah.
had Golden Guardians at 5th. Technically, I'd say they ended at 7th because they were, that last gated one.
Yeah.
I had Echo Fox at 6. Nope.
Ooh.
CLG at 6. They ended 3rd.
Closest for you.
Yeah. And then you had Fox as well, actually.
Ugh.
So you and I were off 4 spots. He was off 3.
Mm-hmm.
Still not as bad as us all having FlyQuest off by 5.
Yeah.
Then
sure
I
I
had
Thieves
Optic
at
at
10.
7th, so I was only off by the 1.
Mm-hmm.
Optic at 7th, Optic at 7th. We're all there.
Whoop whoop.
Then I had CLG, I believed in them the least. Echo Fox, so you're pretty close on that one. You're only 2 off there. Clutch, so you're off 3 on that one. And then 100 Thieves, so I was off 1. Clutch, so you were off 4 there. So actually, you were the most wrong on Clutch.
Womp womp.
And then CLG. Ooh, actually,
Yeah.
that might be.
That's
That is the
the
worst one.
worst.
That is 6.
6, yeah.
Why are you so stupid?
I don't know, man. I didn't trust in Wiggly. I should have just been like, Wiggly's got the best name, so he'll be number 1.
Yeah. So as much as I didn't believe in CLG, she didn't believe in them even more, Jeff.
I'm sorry. I don't know anything about these people.
And then
I wish
I-
I could redo that entire.
And then I had
Me
Clutch
too, I picked
last.
them all right this
I know.
time.
Clutch last, 100 Thieves last, 100 Thieves last. So we all picked somebody last who either made playoffs or was damn close to making playoffs. So, but you guys were fairly close with your 100 Thieves. I was more off with Clutch. And then the wagers we had made at the time is if 100 Thieves was first, I was going to drink a 40. Not
Thank
even
God.
close.
I don't even think I could drink like a third of
You
a
said
40.
you would drink if 100
Oh,
Thieves
yeah.
got first.
I heard that.
And Shay said if 100 Thieves made playoffs, he would drink a 40.
This close.
So we didn't remember this until right before the episode. So Chase might have been sweating a bit more on Sunday had we remembered this.
I was totally good.
Yeah, not
he
even
didn't
close.
pick him at all, so he stood by that, and I did too. I was proud of myself.
I
was proud
didn't
that I
pick
did.
100
I didn't
Thieves a
pick 'em.
single game to win, and I
All
lost
season.
8. I lost 8 picks because of it, and I still like if I
Hold
was,
on. You didn't lose 8 picks because of it. Because you were not going to pick them all of the games they won. And
I
you
could have.
And you were not going to not pick them any of the games they lost.
I could have picked them at least 50% of the time, and 50% of that I could have had at least 2 more points.
But you could have also picked them the times they lost and got them wrong.
Well, I'm saying I'm giving myself half of half, so I'm saying I could have potentially gotten 2 points.
2. Okay, I'll give you 2. So you could have beaten Heather, but you didn't.
No, I'm okay with tying.
Yeah, and he's like, as long as I didn't pick 100 Thieves
You're
for
right,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't compromise my own, what's it called?
And then
My morals,
There you
my
go.
morals and standards, they
Wait,
stay
you
intact.
have
Compromise
those?
stand- Against 100 Thieves, he does.
and the last prediction thing we did, pick your
Yeah.
pony, which I'm gonna have a better version of pick your pony next season. But we picked CLG,
Yep.
Cloud9,
Yeah.
TL.
Yeah.
They all went 3-1, guys. They
Everyone bring your own food next time.
Yeah.
So they all went 3-1. So then I went to what I did last time, where I broke down. Okay, who did they beat? Who did they lose to? Well, they all beat Optic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor fucking Optic in that scenario, but they still made playoffs somehow.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, the win-loss of the other teams they beat. Now you picking Cloud9, you had a win against Liquid and Golden Guardians in there. Psh,
Yep.
22 wins,
A
you were
wild
fine.
Kev appeared.
You and I each had Fox. CLG also beat Clutch. TL also beat TSM. So I had one more win than you. Now, if we want to go past that to loss, like who you lost to though, the thing is, you lost to 100 Thieves who almost made playoffs, and TL lost to fucking Cloud9. So like that loss is better, I would say. But her loss was to FlyQuest. So then I was going to throw shit back into chaos. So I just say, we all won and lost there.
Yeah, I'm alright with that.
And the fact that we all picked the top 3 teams was the reason I'm revamping Pick Your Pony in next
Yeah.
season. When we pick a team, it's going to be how many spots they climb. So you don't want to pick like the top 2 or 3 teams because they can only climb 2 to 0 spots. So instead, it's going to be trying to pick like a middle to lower team that you think can increase their position over the next 2
Are you?
weeks.
Okay, so you're gonna do it 2 weeks. Like,
It's got to be 2 weeks,
Okay.
yeah. Because otherwise you don't have enough games. Or maybe I'll go 3 weeks and we'll just do 3 sets of it.
Like,
I like it.
Here we go.
CG would have been a really
Yeah.
good pick for this.
I think we'll do
the
that. We'll
last
do
2
week
weeks.
1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 9
Alright.
of how they climb. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's talk about these quarterfinals real quick and end up. This is going to be the longest episode we've done like all season. So, we're all split. We've got Clutch versus Optic, guys.
No, CLG.
I'm sorry, CLG versus Optic.
You scared me.
I was looking at CLG
Yeah,
and then I just got rid of the L.
I hate it when they play together. I'm like CG, CLG,
CLG, bring in the L.
CLG.
I'm betting CLG wins this one.
Yeah. What are you gonna go?
I've got 3-1. 3-1
I'm gonna
CLG.
say 3-1
I
too.
think say 3-0. Boom. 3-0. 3-0 Optic. Not what I'm saying, sorry. 3-0 CLG.
Chase, 3-0. Heather and Kurtis, 3-1.
I'm also picking the same for TSM.
Yeah, I mean, I think Optic's just good enough to get a game. Like, we've seen Meteos playing still very on point. As long as you don't completely demoralize Crown, he usually plays well.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, if they get that in the first game, it might be.
If you go back and watch that Cloud9 Optic game, Crown just completely. I think he was 0-6 at one point or some shit.
Like,
yeah,
he died so many
like
times.
he almost killed.
Sucked.
He almost killed Niski twice, and he ends up dying twice because of it. And like at that point, he was just tilted. All right, and then so TSM versus Clutch. You've got 3-1 TSM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think Clutch is good enough to take a win off a team that looks like headless chickens right now.
Well, the fact that you only think they're good enough to take one, maybe, is the question there. Because what do you have?
3-2 Clutch.
3-2 Clutch.
3-2 Clutch to win? Clutch?
Have you seen this TSM?
That is very. But I mean, I feel like
if Clutch
TSM,
comes,
so they'll still,
if Clutch comes in swinging like they
out.
have these last 2 weeks,
yeah,
they have a pretty decent chance in my opinion.
I feel like TSM is still far more consistent than Collide.
TSM trash, but with a 4 instead of an A. Quick question for here's this quick side bet. How many junglers will TSM play during the series?
Minimum of 2.
Because they could bring their roster of
I'm gonna say 2.
of 2 subs being both
Both
junglers.
junglers. They might.
And I think
have
it will
to.
be because they don't play it unless they're going to play a Blaze Olive who's good instead of Bjergsen, which you won't.
I really only think they're going to bring Grig and Acadian. I don't think Spica. I
don't know.
SPICA.
Yeah.
Like.
But I'm saying, you're not
know.
bringing a different sub. You don't have a different sub you're going to play. I think they bring both. It's just a matter of if they play both. You think they're playing at least 2?
At least 2, yeah.
I'll say 2.
You're saying 2?
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going to say 3.
No.
If they lose, they're playing all 3.
If they lose the first 2?
No, if they lose, period, they're going to let all 3 of the junglers lose a game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do they have to lose? They have to lose the first 2 to cycle through those jungles, basically.
I mean, if they go win with Acadian, then a loss, and then they go to Grig, win with a Grig, and then a loss, and then go stick up for last. I don't think they will either. But I'm just saying all 3 because to meme on them, they're pieces of garbage.
I'm gonna say 2.
Yeah, I think 2's the right pick, honestly. Okay. But let's see. I'm gonna say 3-2 TSM. Yeah. Purely because I believe they'll just do the TSM thing and just barely make it through.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they will too. I actually don't think that Clutch is gonna win, but in the off chance, I'd rather be on the off chance side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Part of me is afraid that this version of TSM, playing exactly how it is now, will make Worlds. Because they don't deserve. CLG deserves that spot. But the thing is, say CLG and Cloud9 face off in round 2 and Cloud9 loses and CLG wins and TSM happens to win this round. Well, guess what? As long as CLG loses to TL in the final, TSM goes to fucking Worlds.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think TL picks to play then?
Oh, TL makes... they don't pick CLG.
Yeah, I don't think they pick CLG either.
Why'd you take my beer away?
Because you took forever, and it's probably now room temperature.
You took my beer away.
Yeah, TL would definitely take TSM.
Yeah, no, if you're TL and you get to pick anybody other than Cloud9, are you picking CLG? No! You're picking anyone other than Cloud9 and CLG. Duh. So, alright, that's what we've got going into next weekend. We'll see you guys next Monday
whoop, whoop.
with that.
Yeah.
Wait, do we have matches between here and there?
Yeah, we have quarterfinals.
These 2.
20. 30 matches. We've got so many matches.
What? No.
It's up to 10. Yes, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, are you drunk?
No,
me
we're
out
we're
right
getting really close though to all
Worlds,
the matches.
yeah, Worlds and all the
Oh, yeah.
matches.
Monday,
you've only- Yes.
maybe an issue. I'll get with you guys. Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what we have. Quarterfinals coming up, and in addition to discussing quarterfinals into semifinals, let's come in with our picks for top spots, like best mid, jungle, etc., MVPs, all that next
Next
week.
Cool. Cool.
So we got some time to think about it.
Is that like what we did in the spring split?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah,
All
that
the same
was fun.
awards.
Cool.
Because
Awesome.
it's split-based
Yeah.
awards.
Awesome.
So anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya. Have a good night.
Cheers.
Cheers. Stay hydrated. Good night.